going to speak with a Israeli member of parliament who's a member of Bezalel Smotrich's religious Zionism party, and of course he's one of the spearheads of the judicial reform plans the government is undergoing, and will also discuss the security situation. Joining us now from Jerusalem is Simcha Rothman, as we mentioned, Israeli lawmaker. He's also chair of the Constitutional Law and Justice Committee and a leading figure in the whole judicial reform system. But let's start with the security situation, Simcha. 13 Israelis killed, or 13 people killed in terror attacks in Israel and the West Bank since the start of this government. So what is this government going to do? Can it do anything to deal with the security situation?
I think, of course, after situation in security-wise, you need to change the direction of the boat. It takes time, but of course it's not an excuse. We need to do everything and anything to prevent and to deal with any terrorist attacks that already happened, and to prevent others from happening. Of course, fighting terror is an ever-going effort, and in order to create deterrence and also to prevent, we need to work on this all the time, non-stop, and I'm sure that the people, the Prime Minister and the heads of parties that are in the security cabinet is doing anything in their power to fight terror, and we need to supply security to the citizens of Israel.
But Simcha, part of the problem with changing the direction is there doesn't seem to be agreement in your government over the direction. We have that summit in Aqaba today, and a statement coming out of there by Israeli officials of a temporary freeze or halt in settlement construction in return for renewed security cooperation with the PA, and then your party leader, Finance Minister Smotrich, saying, no, that's totally incorrect. Who speaks for the government on these issues?
I think on security issues, we have, of course, Prime Minister, we have security cabinets. There are ways to take actions, and I think that it's not about declaration. It's about the solutions, it's about the outcomes, and we need to fight terror wherever it strikes. I think this government approved a good deal of new houses in Judea and Samaria. I think this government did a lot, and I think the best way to deal with terror is to build and to create more presence of Jews in all parts of the land of Israel. I think that's the best solution, and we need to work towards it.
All right, I'm not sure that there's agreement in the government on that, but let's move on to the judicial reforms issue. Of course, you're a key figure in that. And the question people are asking is if there's going to be any kind of discussions between the coalition and the opposition, and any chance of even a temporary halt in the process, in the legislative process, to allow those talks to take place.
I don't understand the connection between a halt or stop and talks to take place. We can talk. We can sit with the president offered a place to speak. We can speak in the Knesset. We can speak in formal and informal ways. The opposition needs to understand the public in Israel has made a choice to reform the justice system. They need to accept their loss in the election, and they need to negotiate whatever they think is important and trying to get a better deal. The sad fact today is that they are not willing to negotiate, is if they don't understand they lost the elections. Now, we, despite the fact that we have a majority, we do want to talk to them. We do want to sit with them. We do want to find solution to any problems that they raise. But you need two. You cannot negotiate with yourself, and that's actually what we're doing today. And by the way, today I introduced few changes because the legislation is going forward, and I will change it based on the deliberations in the Constitution Committee and based on the talks and the people that we hear in the committee. But if the opposition won't come, we'll have to make those decisions ourselves.
Well, I do want to clarify that President Herzog, part of his proposal was a temporary halt in the legislation. The opposition says they don't want to be a fig leaf to seem like there's collaboration when the process is going forward as they're talking.
The president did not demand the halt. The president said a week before the first reading, he said, let's talk before the first reading. We said immediately, no problem. We have a week until the first reading. Let's start and talk. They did not want to talk. Later, the president asked for us to postpone 3 legislations from another week. We did it. And it did not pass for a week, and to give an extra week for deliberations, for negotiations. The opposition did not come. They don't want to negotiate. They want to play some kind of game with they are maybe afraid of the demonstrators. I don't really understand why don't they sit and talk. I don't understand. When I was in the opposition, when Justice Minister Levin, we were in the opposition, we only wanted the coalition to talk to us. We didn't have any prior demands, and I don't really understand why they're making those demands.
Well, okay. Let me ask you, you talked about perhaps they're afraid of the demonstrators. What's your view of the demonstrations? We heard the Prime Minister speak out, supposedly, on Friday about feels like punching out at the demonstrators. Are you not disturbed, Simcha, about what's going on?
He did not say that. He did not say that. That's part of the lies the opposition spread about it. He did not say that, but doesn't really matter. I have to say the leaders of the demonstrations use terrible terms. We just saw someone spray over a main road in Tel Aviv that Bibi is a traitor. They use the most harsh terms. They use the most dangerous linguistics, and that cannot take place. To demonstrate is very democratic. You do it. You accept the position. You accept the fact that you lost the elections, and you demonstrate to make your points. That's democratic. To threaten with war, to threaten with weapons, like some of the leaders of the demonstrations are doing, to use terms like traitor or tanks or military or other terms. That's not what a demonstration does in a democratic country. To try to block Knesset members from going to the Knesset and vote, like they tried to do to me, like they tried to do some other members of the coalition. That's not a democratic way to demonstrate. And that's what we're dealing with. That's a big problem. And the fact that the leaders of the opposition did nothing to show not to stop it, just to show that they do not agree with it, that's a problem.
All right. Simcha Rothman of the Religious Zionism Party, thank you for joining us on I-24 News.
Thank you very much.